Welcome back. It's time now for our special show where we answer all the questions you have on coronavirus, any doubts, any queries you have, and we'll have doctors taking all those questions for you. We're joined by Dr. Rajat Jain, President, Doctors for You. We'll also be joined later by Dr. Rajesh Parekh, Director, Medical Research from the Jaslok Hospital. Thank you so much, Dr. Jain, for being with us for this show. And we already have a caller. We have Shluka, who is calling in from Seattle. Go ahead with your question.
Yes. So my question was, will the world be the same again? I miss playing with my friends in the sun. I miss going for hikes with my family, and I miss going to school. Is this going to be like this forever, or is it going to end?
All right, that's a very deep and philosophical question, Dr. Jain. Something I think a lot of kids these days are wondering about. It's I think the first time we've ever lived through a pandemic and a lockdown like this. But for children, it must be very worrying, and they must be, because no adults can give them that answer that when will this end and what will happen after that.
Yeah, well, that's a real concern, and I have two younger daughters, and they also keep on asking me this, that when I'm gonna go out. And probably for all of us, this is the first time that we are seeing such a pandemic. But I can assure you that the world will definitely be same after some time, because see, all these viruses have their own course, and it is gonna be over. All that we need to have is a positive thinking, and to take care that we are not spreading it at a very, very rampant rate. So if we just take care of the measures of social distancing, keeping adequate hygiene, we will be soon be able to cut it down to a pretty low level. And I am very hopeful, and I'm very sure that everything will be absolutely same. It's a very negative thought process that has developed over a period of time, but we all have to stay positive. And definitely the things gonna be absolutely fine.
Right. And Dr. Jain, while we can't tell you when this lockdown will end or when the pandemic will end, we do know that in the future there is a vaccine that is going to come, in a few months' time, whether be it 6 months, 12 months, but there will be a vaccine, and we will hopefully then be able to fight this coronavirus.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, vaccine, there are a lot of countries, they're in a process of trials now, and very soon we will be having a vaccine. And once the vaccine is there, the things will be back to normal. And I feel that there are obviously the negativity, just stay positive. And a very good part is that I want to tell everybody that that more than 85% of the people becomes normal. So it is not the end of the world. Like we used to get these messages that this is something happening. But on the other hand, we are also getting a good thing that we have to take care of our environment, and we should develop these habits so that the environment is protected and we are not following it with another pandemic soon.
Absolutely. We're also joined by Dr. Rajesh Parekh, Director, Medical Research from Jaslok Hospital. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. We have Rahul calling in from Pune. Go ahead with your question, Rahul.
Yeah, hi. So my question is regarding the medicine that has been recently approved in US. So chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, which is anti-malarial drug. And for the time being, when we don't have vaccine, this particular medicine has been put in place for emergency uses. So is our country ensuring that we have sufficient stock available with us in case these things rise in future, the number of cases?
Right, that's your question?
Yes, Rahul,
right. Let's go across to Dr. Parekh. And Dr. Parekh, this is a question we're getting a lot, given the kind of information that has been shared regarding this particular drug, and a lot of people asking about its use, and that's something you want to warn people against, isn't it?
Absolutely, you guessed right. Thank you for having me on your show. Rahul, you've raised a very important question. This drug is not approved as a treatment. Let me give you a brief history. It's actually a drug which has been used for a long time in the treatment of malaria all over the world. In France, there was a trial not properly conducted. It's been criticized on various grounds, but maybe 10 days ago, they used this drug in a few people who had the illness. It was not randomized. There were serious methodological flaws in that study. but they very hesitatingly announced their results. What really took it to another level was the President of the United States, in his usual bombastic manner, going on TV and telling people that a cure had been found and everything would be sorted out. After that, healthcare workers and researchers like me across the world were asked questions. Almost all of us pointed out that it was too premature to talk of this as a drug. The dark side of what happened was, in many countries like Africa, particularly Nigeria, where chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine are sold over the counter, sometimes even in our own country. In these countries, people went overboard and started taking it in excess of the usual recommended doses. And as a result of that, there were many cases of hydroxychloroquine toxicity and poisoning who ended up in the ICU. You know, one of the
and there have been deaths as well. I think in the United States, there have been deaths of an elderly person and his wife was in ICU after taking the drug.
Absolutely. I didn't want to get too alarmist. But
sure, but I think people need to know that.
Those have been isolated cases, but by and large, there have been widespread toxicity and other problems. These drugs have very, very serious side effects. And here's the deal. Some of these side effects, 3 of them, overlap with the symptoms of COVID-19. Tiredness, nausea, of course, fatigue.
So it could cause even more alarm. So I hope our viewers who are listening right now, you know, realize that this is not something to, you know, take lightly or, you know, listen to doctors basically and don't go in for these drugs just by hearing it in the news or hearing people talk about it. President Trump, as you said rightly, is the first one who drew attention to this. We have another caller from Singapore, Dr. Goswami. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, hello. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Gautam Goswami. I'm based in Singapore. I have 2 questions. First question is, I'm suffering through Brugada syndrome. Means my heartbeat goes fast, for which I was twice I was actually hospitalized in Singapore, and under the medication now, I'm taking the medication to slow down my heartbeat because it's going too fast. And the second question is for my wife. She's diabetic, but in the very initial stage, though she's under the medication. Our worry is our life in danger if I have this attack of coronavirus?
All right, Dr. Jain, first to you. I'll go to Dr. Jain first. Go ahead.
So see, as we discussed that if it's coronavirus, that majority of the people get a very, very simple flu. But yes, if it gets complicated and specifically there is a difficulty in breathing and your oxygen saturation is going down, just merely having a increased heart rate is not something that is very, very significant. But yes, if you are getting hypoxic or your oxygen saturation is getting down, then these are the things that you need to be worried about and you should take immediate medical consult in these scenarios.
All right, Dr. Parikh, you wanted to add something?
Yes, Dr. Goswami, if you don't mind my asking, but how old are you and your wife, and how long have you, each of you, had these illnesses?
Okay, I am just now 59 years old and my wife is 65, actually. 59.
Okay, and how long have you all been ill with heart disease?
Last 2 years, actually. It happened quite recently, actually, just 2 years, because doctor told me it's a genetic problem. So I am having an ICD implant at this moment, okay? And there is no problem now. I am leading a normal life. I am working with no issues, okay? There is no problem at all. Only my concern is about this coronavirus, which is
and so is she?
And for everybody I know.
Right, Dr. Parikh?
Okay, let me answer this without asking you more questions. I might have had a question about your medication, but let's keep that discussion with your doctor. Assuming that both of you are young, knowing that both of you are young, I shouldn't say it's an assumption, and that you're both well maintained, you have nothing much to worry. You're not in the high-risk population demographically as far as your age is concerned. You're in the slightly high-risk category as far as your illnesses are concerned. You just need to maintain social distance, look after each other, be close to each other in spirit, but not in person, and all should be well.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Doctor. We have Pinu Sharma calling from Chennai. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah. So, hi, Doctor. The thing is, yesterday we had one message coming across in Chennai. So it was like the people who visited one particular area, one mall, from the date 10th to 17th March. So if they have some symptoms of something for COVID-19, so they have to seek the immediate medical support. So actually, I have visited that mall on 12th of March, and but that particular shop where they have found out 3 positive cases, I didn't visit that particular outlet. But I had got throat pain after I visited that shop, mall, around after 1 week. And now it's already almost 10 days for me. Like I have got that throat pain, and it's now like coming better. It's not that much, but yeah, it is there. So I have visited that mall already 22 days back. So after that news, I'm a bit panicked, like what I need to do, and I separated myself from my husband as well. So I'm a little bit confused because there are no doctors available for the consultation. So I just wanted to check like what I need to do and what I should do for myself. Yeah.
All right. So Dr. Parekh?
Yes. Okay. Nothing to worry. It's more than 3 weeks ago. You've crossed the critical period. Just monitor your symptoms. A lot of doctors are available online, by the way. A lot of hospitals have online services. If symptoms seem to get worse, or if you develop any new symptoms, then talk to the doctors. And by the way, are you sure you didn't go to that shop? A lot of my friends tell me they went to just 2 shops and then they've gone to 10. I'm just kidding. Take it easy.
No, I didn't go to that shop, doctor, because
I'm just joking.
After going there also, I was so cautious. I should not touch anything since it was so emergency. So I had to go to that mall. But
all right, I can imagine many people in Chennai being worried after receiving similar sort of messages. We have another caller from
one point that I
want
to
Dr.
raise
Jain,
here is about that everybody is that in the social media there are a lot of newses that have been circulated. So I will suggest all of you to please take care of the newses that you are getting on a social media. Every news that you are getting is not a genuine news, and that is the biggest advantage and a disadvantage of having the technology. So only rely on to the newses that are coming from an authentic source, either an ICMR or from the authentic sources. Like there are different platforms that government has also established, and I will suggest all of you to use that. And as everybody is talking about this hydrochloroquine and chloroquine, so Dr. Parekh will also agree with me that it is only the hydrochloroquine, hydroxychloroquine that has been tested, and rather the chloroquine has not been very well tested on this particular part. And there are clear-cut recommendations that are given that who should take these medication and who should not take these medications. So please do not self-medicate yourself at this point of time, because the serious side effect might be more worrisome than actually having a treatment. And there is no as such a definitive class 1A evidence or any other evidence.
So that's a point we want to really emphasize here regarding those medication. Nasir calling in from Srinagar. Go ahead with your question, Nasir.
Yeah, I am Sheikh Nasir from Srinagar.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question. I heard that being in sunlight is harmful these days. Is it true or not?
Harmful?
Yeah.
That it's harmful to be in the sun?
Ji.
Okay. Dr. Parekh?
Yes. Hi. Not true unless you're in the sun all the time, in which case you could get sunburnt. But other than that, there's no harm whatsoever being in the sun for some time. If you're going to be in for a long time, please use some sunscreen on your face. Sunlight is very, very good for all of us. It gives us vitamin D3. It does wonders. We should all do Surya Namaskar.
All right. We have a caller from Bengaluru, GT Suresh. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, hi, doctor. This is Suresh. I came from London on the March 19th. I arrived in Bangalore. And they did the screening, and then I came back home. After a couple of days, the BBMP health officials came looking down for me, and then they said you have to be under quarantine, house quarantine. So my question is, say for example, so far I don't have any symptoms as such, but I did have a slight headache, and also slight body ache one day. So I would assume, I have been, told by another doctor when I spoke to them. They said that suppose if you develop, it's possible that you can develop, you can get infected, and probably you might not even feel your body has the ability to deal with this. Probably it can deal, and then you could be clear. Say, for example, if in such kind of scenario, if I develop such, if I get infected and if I overcome that, my body, if it is able to overcome, and then is it possible that I can still be a carrier, and it can again infect, and then it could get worse? Any such scenarios?
All right. So, Dr. Jain, I think this is something, again, we're told in India, a lot of people or worldwide, in fact, could be asymptomatic or have very, small discomforts and still be carriers of the disease.
Yeah, that's a very, very relevant question. So since you have traveled, came back on 19th of March, so the ideal quarantine period is for 2 weeks. Okay, and as regarding to your symptom, the headache, so the common symptoms that we come across is fever, cough, and difficulty in breathing. These are the 3 standard symptoms that we considered. So though there are different reports that have come on that patient have presented with some atypical symptoms, mere a headache, I will not label it as this point of time as a symptom pertaining to that. But having said that, there are a lot of patients who, as somebody has advised you, that they are asymptomatic, their body has a capacity to deal with them, but still they remain a carrier for that. So I will recommend to you, and specifically when you have an international travel history, that maintain that social distancing, because there are a lot of case reports that have come that the chances of the reinfection, they are also there. So please maintain that social distancing, because you might not have suffered from the corona till now, and since you not maintain all this, you may suffer from it. So maintaining the social distancing, maintaining that hygiene will be absolutely important for you, whether you had a mild disease or an asymptomatic disease earlier, and you have to take care of your health also, and as well as of the others' health also.
All right, we have another caller, Sunil from New Delhi. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I have a very simple question. I have 2 questions rather. One is, I had bought an N95 mask, which I bought basically to protect myself from high pollution levels during the time when Delhi was, at a very high pollution level. It was touching above 400. So I've got that N95 mask, which is a good quality mask, and it is imported from China, and it's imported by Reckitt Benckiser, which is a very reputed company. But and the material which they've written is PP non-woven. But my question is, I've been using it for a month, but I'm not sure if I can wash it. That's my first question. Can I wash this mask? Because now I start finding that when I wear it, there is a little bit of the smell. I get a little bit of foul smell from the mask.
Right.
So, and my second question is, while like daily we are buying fruits and vegetables, so should we wash them first? Do we keep a container, fill it up with a detergent water, clean it with that detergent water, and then wash it with the running water to make sure that it's safe enough to keep it in the refrigerator?
All right, Sunil, thank you so much for your questions. Dr. Parekh, first you in this mask question, we get a lot, I think, but about reusing masks, if you could tell him.
Okay, good afternoon, Sunil. The only good that mask will do you right now is if you want to rob a bank. Otherwise, it's of no use whatsoever. There is a lot of myth about these N95 masks. So if you'll grant me a moment, I'll just cover that. First of all, what does N95 mean? It means that it can keep 95% of the particles out. That mask would protect other people from you if you were infected, but it's really not going to protect you from other people that much unless you change it every 2 hours. So let me explain this clearly. If you were a healthcare worker and you were in danger of being exposed to somebody else, you would need to change it frequently. I think that is excellent product placement for that mask. It's lasted 1 month, but it's now beyond its shelf line. I suggest that you discard it. But it's important for the rest of us to realize that we should save these masks for the people who really need them. Healthcare workers need them. And more important, people who are infected, who are ill, who have some symptoms should use them to protect other people from themselves and not the other way around. And incidentally, I think the Delhi weather must be much better now with everything shut down. So you probably don't require it to insulate yourself from Delhi pollution as well. About washing vegetables, always a great idea. I think it's a good idea to wash vegetables regardless. In today's times, more compellingly so. But that's pretty much it. Wash the vegetables and throw off your mask.
Okay, well, we have another call.
I think using the mask for 1 month is a more important source of infection than any other droplet. So I will recommend you to immediately discard that mask that you are using for 1 month. No mask is to be used for that much time. So that is first thing that you have to do today. Please discard this mask.
No matter if it's imported and whatever quality it may be. Yes, we have another caller. I'm sorry, we'll just take some more call. We have Amit calling from Mumbai. Go ahead with your question, Amit.
My question is, my daughter, she's 19 years of age and she's allergic to paracetamol. Now on the internet as well as the TV, I've heard that the European cases where people infected with COVID who are on ibuprofen have a very severe reaction of the virus. So, if at all she contracts this virus in the future, what is the precautions we need to take for that? That's what I need to know.
Okay, Dr. Jain?
Yeah, so first of all, do not self-medicate at this point of time, and do not go, if you're a non-medico, I will not recommend you to take any medications at home. If you're thinking that you are being infected, there is a contact history, or you have come across a person who has been infected with COVID and you are feverish, I will suggest you to go and take adequate medical consult. This is not a place where I will recommend you a medication, but if she is allergic to paracetamol, please do not self-medicate and take a proper medical consult. There are enough hospitals. There are a lot of hospitals, Dr. Parekh has also said, in every city, a lot of doctors are prescribing, are giving the online consultations. So take that appointment, take those online consultation. If you can visit that place, but please do not self-medicate at this point of time.
All right, we have another caller, Skanda from Mangalore. Go ahead with your question.
Hi. When will India get antibody test kits and what is the significance of it?
All right, Dr. Parekh, there are a lot of questions about testing kits, and so if you could take that question.
Yeah, very simple. Right now, there are two broad types of tests which can be conducted. I'm not saying they should be conducted, but they are available for conducting. One is known as the RT-PCR test. I won't go into the details of what those alphabets stand for, but basically it's a test which involves taking one or more swabs from the throat and one swab from each nostril. It is then put in a tube, sent to the lab. The virus uses RNA, which is a form of genetic material, similar to DNA, but different from it. The test analyzes how much of the viral RNA is there and then gives a result. The turnaround time for that test is about 5 hours, not counting the time for collection, transportation, etc. But ideally, you should get it within a day. The good thing about the test is it's quick, it's fairly reliable. Every test has a false positive and a false negative rate. In this particular test, the false negative rate exceeds the false positive rate. That's a little worrisome because you're safer if you're diagnosed positive when you don't have it, because you just need to isolate yourself, rather than you're diagnosed negative when you have it. The other test, which is far more sensitive, which has very little false negativity, maybe about 1%, is a CT scan. A CT scan done on the chest shows a classic ground glass appearance. The scan itself can be done, depending on how good the machine is, in anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. But there's preparation time, there is time after the patient is out to clean up the machine, there are waiting lines. Definitely not recommended as a first line, but can be used as a confirmatory line. In China, they do it in 10 minutes. But in our country, the CT scan is definitely not, I repeat, a first line method of testing. You're better off with the RT-PCR test.
All right. In fact, we have another question, test related. We have Dr. Azmat calling in from Srinagar. Go ahead with your question.
Yes, doctor. Good afternoon to everybody. You just answered my question, and so I will rephrase my question now. I want to know that if a patient comes test negative, and after he comes negative, does he still have that viral levels in his body which are not being detected by the tests? Is he a still potential suspect, which if immunity decreases, he will get again the positive test?
Absolutely. Was that meant for me? I'm not sure.
Yes, well, let's let Dr. Jain take that last question that was, yes, about this testing.
Yeah, so as Dr. Parekh has rightly said, that there are always false negative for every test that has been conducted, like for the RT-PCR, like there are false negative, and it is always better to have a false positivity than the false negativity. Now what he has recommended, like I'm a radiologist, so like CT scan has got quite a good sensitivity of picking up that ground glass hazing. But again, that ground glass hazing is not just a predictor of the corona infection or a COVID. Any viral illness can give rise to that particular, but that will be again false positive, not a false negative. So at least it is better to have a false positive test at this point of time. Though at a big community level, even we don't want to have too many false positive, because that will create more panic in the society. But yes, on the basis of symptomatology, in combination with the test, and there are now recommendations that are coming with the antibody testing,
right,
where in the blood they can calculate or they can test the antibodies for them, and that can calculate your recent infection and as well as a remote infection. But
all right, well, thank you so much, Doctor. I'm so sorry we're completely out of time. Thank you, Dr. Jain and Dr. Parekh, for sharing your time and answering all those questions. And thank you all for watching at home. And I hope that answers many of the questions that you have regarding coronavirus.